Hello, everyone. We are live today on February the 18th, 2020. I can't believe it. Time is flying so fast. So here we are. We're past the middle of the month. Yesterday we had Family Day in Canada, and it's in Ontario anyways, it's a statutory holiday. So it was really nice because a lot of people spent time with their family. I didn't, however. I had a very down, not a mood down day, but a very down day in that. Excuse me. In that I sat down and read a book all day yesterday. People were gathering everywhere in Ontario with their families, having big meals and so forth, but I had seen my family on Friday and Saturday, and so I was fine yesterday to take a day off. This is Barbara Moore, and I have COPD. The site is called Catch Your Breath 60. It is a, hi Kevin, nice of you to join us today. It is a, taken from one of our most famous phrases when you have COPD is you got it too, eh, Kevin? It's really just a frog in my throat, but I can't. And I was fine until I started the recording. Those of us with COPD often say, let me stop and catch my breath. And I was 60 when I was diagnosed, so Catch Your Breath 60 was born. I had to leave my job very shortly after I was diagnosed, about a year and a half after my diagnosis. And I felt myself not having a purpose. And so my daughter said to me, why don't you get a purpose, start a blog, gather a community, and start gathering a community where you can help each other. And so here we are at Catch Your Breath 60. And I want to welcome everybody who's joining today. I want you to know that this is not a private page. Hi, Susan. Susan's watching from Florida today. Bring us some nice weather home, Susan. We're dying for your nice weather. This is not a private page like it is when you go into a private group for COPD. This page is open to everybody, and I want everybody to know that if there's something that you don't want the public to know, please don't put it on this page. I am, however, only a text or an email away, and my email is at catchyourBreath60@gmail.com. So if anybody has something to say to me that they don't want to say publicly or that they would like me to talk about in tea time, please feel free to email me. Hi, Christine, and welcome back. Christine's been off sick for a little while, and it's nice to see you back, Christine. I always love to see the normal faces and some few extras too, but it's nice to see that you're feeling better. Today's meme said, it's okay not to feel okay. Nurture your heart and soul and be gentle with yourself. Love yourself and take care of you today, knowing that this too shall pass. It's a real fickle time of the year. The middle of February, once we get Valentine's Day over, there's not much else to look forward to. And it's kind of a fickle time of year. We're so sick of the winter. We're fed up with it. We don't care if there's any more snow, and we're looking for an early spring, of course, which is kind of cheating because we haven't really had too much of a winter. It's just been long and cold and not enough snow to do anything with, but too much snow not to do anything, right? So I think that we all feel kind of a little bit blue and a little bit down at this time of year. It's quite normal. And for those of us that don't have a hobby, if you don't have a hobby, then you're kind of screwed because you're kind of in yourself. Hi, Shirley. How are you today? And so today I want to talk about what we will do. I know it's, I said it was February, it was Heart Month, and we talk specifically about heart. And I will get to that in a few minutes, right? But I am looking way forward to spring. Oh, Christine, I can't tell you how much. And so one of the things that I have to tell you is that it sets me back. Like, I can't believe how many people email me and say, I have COPD and I'm still smoking. And I know that was me. Kevin and I were talking about that last week about, how he didn't quit smoking as early as he should have, and I didn't quit smoking as early as I should have, and I absolutely know that. But it seems to me that now that I've done it, that everybody should do it. So I'm asking everybody to make an effort to stop smoking. And if you think that vaping is any better for your lungs or your heart, give your head a shake, because it's not. Hi, Joanne. Thanks for joining us today. You've got to quit putting foreign objects into your lungs. You must quit smoking. There is no getting around it, and we all know that we're going to have to quit smoking someday. Let it be today. Please let it be today. I'm asking everybody to make a quick or an earnest effort to quit smoking. It is so bad for you. And I have 2 sons that smoke. My daughter quit smoking when I got sick, but my 2 sons have continued smoking, and I'm very, very, very concerned about them, right? Yeah, Christine, I bet you did. Most of us quit, and most of us quit when we got diagnosed, but a lot of us didn't. I did. The day I was diagnosed was the last cigarette I ever had. You need to get yourself to a good place right here, right? We're all kind of alone in this COPD thing. One of the things that we know for certain is that most of us that are diagnosed with COPD are nearing or close to our 60s. Research shows that when you're about 40, your lungs, first of all, your lungs are not developed until you're 12 years old. And they're optimum from the age of 12 until you hit about 40. And at 40, we know that lung capacity starts to diminish. This is why 40, 50, and 60, you're right, Kevin, there was nothing in that cup. That's why 40, 50s, and 60s is the time that we are often, or it's more popular to be diagnosed, because our lungs are diminishing anyways. And then based on what we've put into our lungs, and that's not only just smoking, a lot of people have contacted me and said, I never smoked in my life. But what they were was raised around wood stoves. Their parents cooked on wood stoves. Their parents smoked in the house and around them. I remember all the time getting into the car. There would be 5 kids in the car, and my mother would have just come from the hairdressers. All of that scent from the hairdresser, she just smelled like a bouquet of flowers. They put so much hairspray on her. And then she would get into the car and say, nobody put the windows down because you're going to wreck my hair. And she and my father would light up a cigarette. It was very, very common, and it happened to all of us. So it's not just your smoking, but it's all of those people that are around you who are smoking. You have to get away from them. You just have to distance yourself from them. And as I said, vaping is no better than smoking. In fact, we now believe that vaping is worse than smoking. So please don't tell me that you're vaping to quit smoking, because it doesn't work. And you're right, Carol, we live in a chemical world. So our job is to take ourselves away from those chemicals as much as possible. You're never going to be done with them. But, Kevin wrote a great article one time on COPD Net about opening your windows in the morning. And I really believe that this is a really, really good thing. Let all the air out. Let some air exchange come in. We keep our windows closed too much, and especially in the winter, right? So, Kevin, I took your advice, and I open my window every single morning. And when I'm working in my office, which is all of the time, I always have a window open just to have some heat exchange, or just to have some air exchange, right? And it gets the carbon dioxide out, and it gets some fresh air in, and it's very, very good for us. So air circulation is really important. We must all get ourselves into a good place, a place with no pollution, no dust, and no mold. Right now, what they're finding in office workers is that the dust from the chemicals from the photocopier machine, the dust from the pages, and the dust from the ink that they put into it, is we're ingesting this in our lungs and it's causing problems with our breathing. So even though we think that we're in a good place, think again. Yeah, no kidding, Christine, we all did. So pollution, dust, and mold are the things that you have to get away from. If you live in a highly polluted area, I know it's not possible to, to kind of move everybody, to kind of pick up, and I know it's really, really hard. But if you do live in a highly polluted area, you should see what you can do about making your way into a home that is not in such a polluted area. I live in an industrial city, Hamilton, Ontario. Highly industrial city. We have 2 major steel mills here and tons and tons and tons of machine shops all over the downtown area. We don't live downtown, we live on the mountain, and so that kind of alleviates it sometimes. But, really, there's not a whole lot that you can do about alleviating all of it. Last week there was a fire downtown, and you could see it when you looked over the side of the mountain. You could see it coming up, So fresh air is really, really important. And I understand that it's not easy, but you must look at what you can do to live well. Downsizing is the key, and giving away your dust collectors. Things that are just sitting around collecting dust, look around your home and think about what it is that you can give to your kids. Give it to them now, and so then you don't have to worry about cleaning it and the dust and everything that gathers around it, right? So once again, I'm on this clean kick. Let's downsize. We started this last year, and I did a little bit of it. We're going to be doing more downsizing and getting rid of stuff and everything this year because we need to get into a clean, dry space. And everybody's breathing needs to be in a clean, dry space. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin has put up a link there about his article on fresh air. Yes, but Elaine, we all worked in those office buildings, right? And they were called sick buildings. And there was no real air exchange. We were just exchanging air amongst us. Everything was hermetically sealed. And so we know now that those are sick workplaces. And we know that one of the things that came from there was something called Legionnaire's disease. I don't know if you remember it a couple of years ago, right? But yeah, you're right. Carol, books do collect a lot of dust. Everything that's kind of sitting around that's not being moved is collecting a lot of dust, and that's what's happening, right? We need to, when we have COPD, we think of it mainly as a lung disease. But this is not just a lung disease, and many of you can attest to this. We now have to take care of our heart and our lungs. It's the whole cardiovascular system. And if we are allowing our lungs to be strained too much, it puts more strain on our heart. And as I talked about the last couple of weeks, this causes heart failure. Now, heart failure doesn't mean that your heart's not working. It means that your heart's not working well. And when your heart's not working well, there's a few things that you can do. There's nothing that the doctor can do for you, really. I mean, they can give you beta blockers, which is something that we should never be taking when we have COPD. However, that being said, I was on them for a little while. I was on some Betropidol, which I thought was going to kill me. I went on Bistropidol, and I took 1/4 of 5 milligrams a day. And this kept my heart rate at about 65 beats per minute. Of course, because I had sudden cardiac arrest, right? The problem with being on a beta blocker is that you cannot raise your heart rate. And with COPD, you have to raise your heart rate in order to keep everything going properly. So they can give you, some things like beta blockers, but they're really not good for us, right? Mind your heart by eating well, and this includes lots of proteins. So everybody's breakfast should include eggs. I like mine hard-boiled. I keep mine hard-boiled and in the fridge so that I always have something to grab and go, right? And anytime that I get hungry, so instead of grabbing a cookie, I'm grabbing hard-boiled egg. Minerals, fruits, and vegetables are extremely important. And as we age, it's more important that we eat a proper diet. Remember that we are taking care of our heart, and heart health is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves. So vitamins, fruits and veggies. Getting your vitamins from fruits and veggies. I know we have supplements. Everybody's heard about supplements. You can supplement for a lot of things like vitamin D and calcium. I'm taking B12s now because I have a little bit of jumpy nerve system. But you can't get it all from vitamins. And so, hi Tammy, thanks for joining us today. So vitamins, fruits, and vegetables. So we've decided that we're going to have a salad every night. And so every night we have a salad with a couple of different things in it. And tonight our salad will include fresh chopped onions as well as raspberries. So it's going to be a very interesting salad tonight. So a little bit of fruit and vegetables in the salad because it's a great way to get it down, right? We're not so much for canned vegetables, more for frozen vegetables. But sometimes my husband just doesn't feel like cooking them. And, he's the cook and everything. So we have salad. He'd rather cook a salad. We eat only lean meats, only very lean meats like chicken breast. And we eat mostly chicken, salmon, fish, I like salmon. Nobody else in the house does. So we cook it for myself. I cook it for myself once or twice a week. And lean meats, all lean meats. Beef, you can have once or twice a week. But does anybody else find that beef is really, really hard to digest? I find it's very, very hard on my stomach. I get very bloated feeling. And unfortunately, and I love a roast beef with mashed potatoes and gravy. I mean, that's meat and potatoes. That's what we had, right? Irish Catholics. But I find that it's very hard to eat too much beef now. And a couple of times we've been, to a really fine steakhouse, and I used to always order, the biggest steak because I was a big eater, and but not anymore. Now it's always salmon. So lots of salads, lots of lean meats, lots of clamshells of things like fruits and vegetables that you can just grab, in the fridge. I know it seems like a lot of money when we're buying them. Hi, Mona. I know it seems expensive when you're buying them at the grocery store, but if you compare it to what you would normally eat. So normally, most of us would grab a cookie after supper. So now instead of having cookies after supper, I can grab a clamshell of blueberries and a couple of tomatoes, a couple of cherry tomatoes, a piece of cheese, and I'm quite happy with with that snack at night instead of sweets, because we all know that sweets turn to carbohydrates, so that's not good. We need to exercise daily, and exercising is one of the most important things to keep your heart going. Carol, I read all of my books. Every book that I read is on my tablet. I belong to BookBub, and I get books every day, and I pick one or two, or sometimes I pick a couple, and some are free and some are not. But everything that I read is on my tablet. I can't have the books anymore. I can't have the clutter. I can't have the stuff around. I can't have magazines around. I'm a magazine freak, and I used to have closets full of magazines. But, it's like the internet. You get to the end of it, and eventually you realize that you've saved all this stuff, and you don't even know where it is to read it again if you wanted to. So exercising daily, everybody knows that we should be exercising daily. We should be at least 3 times a week, they say, is the absolute minimum. I believe that a daily exercise of at least an hour. Why can't you read on screen, Kevin? You need to change your background. You might have we might have a conversation later about that, changing your background, and it really, really works. It softens the light that's coming out on the screen. So if you're looking to exercise, we're looking at cardio. So some type of cardio, get your legs going. Building the muscles in your legs is really important because those are there to carry the rest of your bodies. We need to do some upper body. So we do cardio, our legs, and get something going there. And then we do some upper body. And then we do some breathing. Now, one of the things that we're forgetting here is the middle body, which we tend to get, quite a bit of belly. And I've got quite a bit of belly since I've been diagnosed with COPD. So now I'm looking for a way to get rid of that. And it's not easy because that's all very strenuous, to get those belly muscles working. The site to go to is called COPD, Exercise to Healthy Living. They will help you with all of your exercise needs. They have new exercises every day, nice memes that are out every day. They're a very encouraging site, so everybody should be looking at COPD, Exercise to Healthy Living. One of the biggest things that we need to learn to do is to keep our thoughts positive. So I want you to remember something. This is something that everybody seems to forget when we are diagnosed with COPD. We have a chronic illness. And the fact that you have a chronic illness means that you're not going to be able to do some of the things that you used to be able to do. For instance, I can no longer vacuum. So I know I can't vacuum, and I know my husband doesn't want to do it because he does everything around the house. He does all the heavy lifting. So we bought ourselves a Roomba. We did that as a wedding present to ourselves a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love it. I love the Roomba. I can put it in a room, I can forget about it, go back 20 minutes later, the room's all vacuumed, all the dog hair, everything is gone. It helps me to keep my thoughts positive, and it's my contribution to getting the housework done. So now I don't feel bad when the house needs vacuum. I just say, can you just push that button and turn on the Roomba? So we can't do some things that we used to do, and most of us feel really, really guilty about it. But I want you to keep one thing in mind. Most of us are at the age where we would have been retired anyways. So, if you're between 60 and 65, you might be a little bit young, but you're getting there anyways, right? We worked all our lives because we were all baby boomers. We were all from the same generation. It doesn't matter whether you're 65 or 70. It doesn't matter if you're 55. We were all from the same generation. We worked hard, and we worked every day of our lives. And we worked in an atmosphere where we were chained to our desks, where we went to work sick, and we gave up everything that we had for our job because we knew, and our boss, at least my boss has always told me, if you don't like the way it works here, you can give us your notice and we'll have somebody in line here by the time lunch hour is over. So, not a nice thought, but we worked hard to keep our jobs, and we worked very, very hard, and we always were making money. Those times are over now. We can't do that anymore. Even if we weren't sick, we wouldn't be doing it. So it's time to slow down. It's time to find a hobby for yourself. It's time to do something that you like to do. We have to work really, really hard at saying nice things to ourselves. And I don't like it when people text me and say, I'm so stupid. I hate that word. I hate that word stupid, and I hate that word hate, but it is actually the way that it is, right? So keeping our thoughts positive is really, really tough. And we're at that point in our lives where the house no longer has to be spotless. Nobody's coming to see us. The food doesn't have to be on the table at 5 o'clock. It's okay if we don't have supper till 6:30, 7 o'clock, sometimes 8 o'clock at night. Who cares? Nobody's there to judge you. It's really, really hard for us to slow down and to let life be and just be and enjoy it. Christine, I love to see your bird pictures. Christine puts pictures on every day or almost every day on her birds, right? And I love the birds. I love the north. I absolutely love some of the things that you've had on there, especially your cardinals. I have a couple of broods of cardinals now that are just coming to look for seeds, and I don't put seeds out because of my cats. I have a couple of killers here that are outdoor cats and they love to kill. So if I draw the birds to them, it's really not fair to the birds. But I do have enough birds anyways around, even without the seed, right? So I think that, here's where we need to go in the future. Spring is around the corner. It's almost a month away. Just a couple of days past a month, right? So about 32 days away. And so we need to start thinking about what we're going to do to satisfy ourselves so that we are happy in the way that we are at this point in our lives. This is how we are going to keep ourselves heart healthy. Some things that I might ask you to do or that I might comment on is when you're getting blood work, always have your potassium and magnesium checked. I thought last week that I was having a heart attack. I really did. And I said to my husband, I got to really watch this because I can feel something going on with my heart. And I let that go for a couple of days, really worrying about whether or not I was going to have a heart attack. Nothing was really happening, but I just had that feeling that something was going to happen. And it turns out that my potassium is low again, which is very common when you're on diuretics. So if you're not feeling good, look for the source. And if you can't find the source, hi Molly, how are you? Glad you joined us today. If you can't find out what's wrong with you, find out the source. And if you can't find the source, then go to the hospital and get checked out. It's just so much easier to just go and get checked out. And if I had done that on Wednesday instead of waiting until yesterday, I would have realized that they would have done the blood work and told me that my potassium was low, right? And that has a whole bunch of implications on your heart when your potassium is low. It's really funny how it really affects like everything. You think, potassium is just a vitamin or a mineral, right? Not true. It's the central part of keeping your heart strong and keeping your heart beating healthy. So I said last week that we would talk about my ICD, but I don't think there's enough of you with ICDs to really care about it. So I put my article up on the difference between a sudden cardiac arrest and a heart attack. And I'd appreciate you taking a quick look at that today. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So next week will be our last week of February, and it will be the last Heart Talk. And then we're going to get into some really interesting stuff. So something that I started this week was, because I absolutely love it, I cannot wait till the spring. Yes, I do, Molly. I have heart failure, yes. They thought at one time that it was right-sided heart failure, which is really horrible. But now they said it's not right side, it's not left side. My heart's just not working well. And that, of course, I blame myself because I didn't get diagnosed as soon as I should have. I knew I was sick and I didn't bother with it. And I let it go to the point that it was really, I almost died. So, that's how strong I am. I just keep on going, right? And that is how stupid I am. So anyways, this week I started a garden and I'm going to do some seeds. Hi, Kat. How are you? Nice of you to join us. I'm going to do some seeds, and over the next week I'm going to put up the pictures of my lemon plant. So I started from some seeds from the lemon, from my lemon, and I started the seeds from scratch. So I'm going to show you some pictures. They're starting to come up now, and I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. I keep going over and looking at them and saying, "Was this really true?" So I'm going to show you some pictures over the next week of my lemon plant. So for those of you who have lemon in your water or your tea, which, by the way, is an added benefit of drinking water that we know we must drink, take those seeds, put them in some water overnight, plant them in some damp soil, and cover them with saran wrap with a few holes in them and keep them under a bright light. And within 4 to 6 weeks, you will have a lemon tree too. This is Barbara Moore for Catch Your Breath 60. I appreciate everybody who joined us today. I appreciate all of your comments, and I work very, very hard to answer each one of them. My email address is catchyourbreath60@gmail.com, And this is my Facebook page at Catch Your Breath 60. I also have YouTube videos. Please feel free to go and view them anytime. I love it. I love to watch my views going up and up and up. I also have a blog page, which I haven't been very active at, but I do have a great Pinterest board. All my boards are for COPD. Go to Pinterest at Catch Your Breath 60. Thank you so much for today. And we'll see you next week for the last tea time of February. This is Barbara Moore signing off for Catch Your Breath 60.